Hi there, good morning. It's Woody back for another little talk. It's Sunday morning. Bit cold, a bit dull today, but just been for a walk. Managed to get rid of all those cobwebs out of my head, and I've got an interesting, well, hopefully you find it interesting, chat to give today. And I did say at the end of the last video I was going to do a chat about the positiveness of a cancer diagnosis and living with cancer. Sounds strange, but I think we focus so much on the bad stuff and the negative stuff that we forget that there's two sides to everything. It's not all bad. And if you focus on it being all bad, you will get an all bad experience. Instead of that, I thought I'd make a list. It's the first time I've actually done one of these videos where I've actually spent some time thinking about what I'm going to talk about rather than just going off the fly. And I made a list. They're not in any order. I write them on a bit of paper. Not a lot of research went into this, but this is just what came out of my mind after the walk, after sitting down, after being a bit quiet for a little while, letting my mind clear. And I come up with these 10 things that I've found have been extremely helpful. Okay, they're not on any, like I say, they're not on any order. But number one, I've put money. And I'm going back from the original diagnosis. The first thing that bothered me and scared me, not just the cancer, I mean, this is how crazy it is, was the fear of not having enough money to be able to live. Okay, you've been given a death sentence and all I'm worried about is money. And I think many people go through life completely scared of not having enough money, so scared that it ruins their life, and they strive and strive and strive, but like a hamster wheel, you know, they're on that hamster wheel of life trying to earn the money. I think I've realised in the diagnosis that I've lost that fear. You know, money, of course I need enough money to put food on the table, to put a roof over my head and to make sure the children are fine. But that's it. I don't need anything else. It's all something that many of us in the world have been brought up through education, through everything. It's all about money. It's all about trying to better oneself and own as much as you can. I don't feel a slave to money anymore. I work, but I love my job, but I don't feel that that's my sole purpose of doing that job, is to earn money. The second one was, again, just after the diagnosis, was I realised the value of help and asking for help, and it not being a weak thing to do. For most men are brought up with the illusion that asking for help is weak. And especially if you're really new on this path, don't be frightened to ask for help. It is brave to ask for help. Okay, but all it is a phone call to somebody or a meeting with somebody. And it can change everything. It can help so much. And now, 3.5 years into this diagnosis, every now and again I still feel I need some support. And I'm really hoping that this is what this group is doing. It's giving me support and giving you support. And this is one of the key reasons why I started it, is to try and help and find help. Number 3 on my list is loved ones. And okay, this isn't, it could be number 1 in terms of the priority. They're not in any hierarchical order. loved ones, people that over the years, your children, your family, you perhaps just take it for granted that they're always going to be there, and you're always going to be there, and I thank cancer for this one. I really do, because it's opened up my eyes to see the beauty in my children, my wife, the way they are, not to see the bad stuff, not to look for the poor side of things. I'm always looking at the good side of things with them. Children will be children, children will mess up, children make mistakes, but they're an endless fountain of joy when you see them through the eyes of someone who could possibly not be in their life much longer. And once something's threatened to be taken away, it becomes very, very valuable. And I think cancer's given me that realisation, the value of loved ones around me. Number 4, as I've gone along this journey, I've realised more and more that there's a power in the mind that helps in the situations that we go through. I've realised that recognising how I'm thinking has an absolute direct effect on how I'm feeling. And I've realised how powerful that is. Having cancer, waiting for results is probably one of the most anxious things we do. We're waiting for results, blood tests, scan results, and sometimes we make up stories in our mind about how bad it's going to be, and the leading up to the point where we get the results, we're in such a state, and actually the result comes along and everything's okay, and you're instantly transformed, and everything just doesn't feel as bad again. And it's that power of the mind to recognise that we can stop doing that. We can just tell ourselves it's not going to be bad, that it is going to be good. Number 5, very closely connected to the last one, is the power of awareness. What we put our attention to is what we feel. The power of being mindful. I would suggest anyone going through this is to just get online and look up stuff about mindfulness. Learn about mindfulness. It's such a comfort to be able to sit still for a while and focus on nothing else. Nothing about cancer, nothing about anything. Just your breathing, or a walk, focusing on your surroundings. And I will do some videos about mindfulness in the future, I think. Maybe teaching it, because I used to teach mindfulness, so I have got a good idea about this. But the thing about mindfulness, and when I used to teach it, was in many cases teachers can feel almost like imposters. But now I've actually experienced the need for mindfulness. I know it works, and that's something that I'm really glad I found out about, and cancer has really helped me to discover that. Number 6, I read a lot of people's comments about their faith, and for me, discovering that there is a power in spirituality, and I don't have a particular religion that I turn to, but I do have this belief that there is a power of some kind that guides me in not just because I've got cancer, but before that I've always believed something is there, a bit like a force of nature. but it hasn't got a name. I haven't got a name for it. And I've been constantly amazed at people with cancer that are so totally convinced of their faith, and I sometimes envy that someone can turn to that. But I do have a good feeling of spirituality, and I think the more I discover, the more I learn about that, I think the more stronger that will get. And I start to lose the fear of things when I believe there's a well, the word belief is the main thing. You lose the fear when you start believing in something. Number 7, the value of time. Goodness, how many times have I in my life wasted time waiting in traffic jams, wishing that the clock would go quickly so I could go home from work? Those sort of things. I think we should treat time like we've got none left, like it's running out, and that we want to make the most of what we have. And it's inspired me a few times to get off the couch, particularly recently when I've had this fatigue that's hit really hard, and sometimes even in the pain that I have, where I can give in to that, or I can say, just waste my time and lay on the couch and close my eyes and go to sleep, or just get out and walk it off. The times I've sat in traffic jams and I'll put an audible book on and listen to something and learn something. So it's just using time wisely. And that has made my life better, just knowing that time is so very, very valuable and should never be wasted. So live your life as if it's the last day. Number 8, again, not in any particular order, but one that has another strong power, is gratitude. Being grateful, even if you're in dire straits, you're in a bad way, there's always someone else that's worse off. And also, I think a lot of the time when it comes to gratitude is with cancer, we tend to, or at least in my own personal experience, we can go through a real strong period of hating things, hating and jealousy because other people are healthy and you're not healthy and you're struggling. And I think that's perfectly normal and understandable, because you see people around you that are healthy and you're the one that's struggling all the time, and you can feel that envy. But when you use a practice of gratitude, I think that changes. I think that changes a lot, and I usually write at the end of each day. In my journal, I write a journal about what I've been grateful for in the day. And the same things come up, but some things come up that are really I don't expect to write. I'm grateful, I'm grateful for almost everything. It's so good to be grateful for what you have rather than resentful for what you don't have. I'm grateful for the care and the medication and the number of people that are on my case, that are helping me, that you don't see in the background. I thank all those people. And developing a culture of gratitude is a very, very positive thing to do. It puts your mind in a really good positive place. Number 9, it's just taking things for granted. Cancer's made me realise things won't always be there. I won't always be there. And again, you could probably link this up with some of the other things, but taking everything for granted. Taking your health for granted. How much have I done in my life to try and improve my health? And the answer is not a lot. I've just gone through life thinking that I'll always be, I thought I had a reasonably healthy life. Not a super sports person. And in fact, I've probably lived a life where if anyone's going to get ill, my lifestyle's probably done that. And we're talking about when I was younger, working abroad, yeah. And then you get these people that have been very strict with their life, healthy, and they still get cancer. It just proves we can't take anything for granted. That life is such a valuable thing, and that now I realise that life can be taken away. I will do my best to try and change things to extend it. So diet, as much exercise as I can manage. I'm not great with the exercise due to pain levels, but I do what I can. And the last one, and this could be the most important one in some aspects, is the value. I've seen the value of kindness. I've watched people be kind, and I've gone into a practice of kindness. Gratitude and kindness, two of the most powerful things you can do. It changes your cells in your body. It changes everything. If you're kind, if you're kind to one person today, that starts a ripple effect. They may be kind to someone else. You know, one random act of kindness changes the world, and I think that's true. Having cancer, kindness is probably not one of the things you may be particularly thinking about, being kind. And I think it's so important that we just don't go down that avenue where everything is dark and nasty, and instead we're looking for light, we're looking for good things. And if you set out today and go and do something kind to somebody, maybe someone you don't know, a stranger, it will change you. It will change you, just even for a minute, it will change you. But actually the long-term effect is it changes you constantly. If you keep being kind, you keep a culture of gratitude, those two things together are as good as any medication that you will ever take. So there you go. There's probably more. In fact, you know, guys, maybe you can give me your things that you found powerful and life-changing. I mean, these are all life lessons. No one goes to school to learn this stuff. You learn it because you've got to learn it, and you have no choice. You either, I mean, there's 10 things. You either take on board some of those things, or you lay down and die. It's as simple as that. You have that choice to look at life in a completely different way, and that is a lesson of cancer. It's made me look at life in a way that I would never have possibly felt I could have done, before all this started. So, from getting cancer, I believe I'm a better person. And obviously I don't wish to have it, but I think it's made me a better person because I've recognised some of these values that are there. So please share, let us know what your values and your things that you've done, and perhaps that are not on this list, or your thoughts about this list. Because if you let cancer be a teacher rather than the enemy, if you're the enemy, if it's the enemy, if cancer's the enemy, you're only battling yourself, you're only fighting yourself, you're only hurting yourself, instead of using cancer to make things better. let it teach you, and you may have a much better time of it. So that's quite a deep one, that one, but I believe in all of it. So thank you once more for listening, taking the time. If you got all this way, it was the longest one I've done. Please, thank you, share. If you think someone's in need of something like this that might help them through their own journey. Next time I'll be talking to you. One more thing I've got. The good news, my PSA levels dropped again. We're at 0.8, which is remarkable. Yeah, the belief still goes on. See you soon.